From the biggest little city in the world in the clear blue waters of Lake Tahoe, broadcasting from an undisclosed location in the Truckee River Valley on Truth Frequency Radio, this is the Awakening Liberty Show with Sean Caron. And welcome back. Segment 2 of the Awakening Liberty Show right here on truthfrequencyradio.com. Your protection from deception all across America, all around the world. The number to call in is 866-37-TRUTH. Again, that number is 866-378-7884. Hopefully, if we get the call boards back up, you guys can call in with your questions and comments for my guest today, Richie from Boston. Thank you so much for joining me, Richie. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here.
No doubt, brother. Anytime.
Yeah, great, man. Hey, let's talk a little bit about your background before we get into this whole geoengineering thing, your activism, and obviously your hugely popular YouTube channel.
Well, my channel started out just basically showcasing my work. That was it. You know what I mean? Like anybody else. It was cheap advertising. It seemed like a good idea. And one day I started noticing the chemtrails. The next day I started videotaping them, and I started putting them up. I've been putting them up for years.
You started putting up videos of the chemtrails. What did people start saying when they saw that? Did they think you were nuts?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know the drill. They've been denying this stuff for years and years. But they keep coming out. David Keith in particular saying that we could do it and it would be really inexpensive. And then they show the models of it, and it's exactly what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, so absolutely.
It's amazing.
And you just did a video about these Harvard scientists moving ahead on plans for atmospheric geoengineering experiments. This is absolutely crazy. This guy, David Keith, and what's his other guy's name? Frank Cooch? Hoping to launch this high out. Yeah. Go ahead. Talk about it a little bit.
Kermit Wagner, they've gotten all this, quote unquote, best scientists from Harvard, and they've put out an 8-minute long video, and they're basically touting the benefits of spraying the atmosphere and putting what they're calling a solar shield around the Earth to protect us from the sun and to negate most of the global warming, which is what they're creating in the very first place.
Yeah, now there's two schools of camp when it comes to the whole global warming thing. There are those people like Dane Wigington, who absolutely believe that there is global warming going on, that there is a melting of the ice caps. The other school of thought is basically that the global warming is being caused by the Luciferian elitist waggos in order to terraform the Earth for whatever reason. What school of thought are you prone to believe?
Well, it's funny you mentioned Dane because I just sent him a message on Facebook. I'm going to have him on next week. He's going by the science, and the science does show that everything is warming up. I live in Boston. 2 years ago, we had 10 feet of snow, which was the normal, and now it doesn't snow at all. Whatever they've done, they've definitely warmed it up. It's 50 degrees in Boston all winter, which makes no sense. And I have a funny feeling this has to do with their aspirations to literally reopen the pit that's located in Geneva.
When you say the pit, are you talking about the abyss?
CERN, I am. CERN's sitting right on top of the mouth of it. And I got a funny feeling that for whatever reason, this planet, for whatever they're trying to release or loose on this planet, they have to change the atmosphere because they're without a doubt terraforming the planet. Look at the skyline at night now. It looks like we're on what we're told Mars looks like. The sky is completely red at night, and nobody seems to notice it. It's no big deal.
Yeah, people just aren't paying attention. It's completely oblivious. I go to Target, which is just down the road here a little bit from us, and I stand out there sometimes and I look up at the sky when it's filled with obvious chemtrails, and I'm pointing up, and people are like, what's this guy doing, man? He's pointing up in the air, and I'll say, look, this isn't normal. This isn't normal. Do you think that's normal? And they're just looking at me like I'm just crazy completely, and they're looking at me like I am from Mars.
I got to tell you, I try to keep it to a minimum, but in the Bible it did say that in the end times, two men will stand side by side, one will see it and one won't. And I got a funny feeling that's what we're looking at right now because it completely escapes me how people can look up and see X's, O's, checkerboards in the sky, and they don't think anything of it. What happened to when we were kids and you could look up and you could see bunny rabbits and, all different things the clouds would form. And now the clouds are just long, straight, linear clouds that spread out. They don't go anywhere. And then they kind of knit together and block out the sun completely.
Yeah, there are days here when the sky becomes so clouded, it becomes so gray, so overcast, and I'll go and check NOAA radar. I'll go and check the satellite imagery, and there is no storm system in the area. There is no front moving in, and it really concerns me when, obviously we get this guy right here saying that they are planning on blocking out the sun. Basically to control radiation from the sun. And this guy, David Keith, this guy is really concerning me because, they're setting up an Armageddon here.
Without a doubt. He's been setting this up for 15 years that I know of. He's been in the background. He goes to all the conferences. He's the advisor. He's the guy. He goes on all the talk shows with Conan and whatever all the other guys are. I don't watch television anymore, but he does these shows, and he continues to say that if we had more sulfuric acid or aluminum, because it's so cheap, we could do it. And you can't get an independent laboratory to do any water testing anymore. It just isn't going to happen. They're not going to do it. But when they were doing it, they were getting it from the most remote regions, like Mount Shasta, places like that, high up where it should be completely pristine, and they're pulling enormous aluminum, barium, strontium, and lithium, all sorts of chemicals out of the ground that just don't get there naturally. This all goes back to Alcoa and 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗱 tricking everybody into thinking that putting aluminum waste product in the drinking water was a good idea. This is an enormous conspiracy that's been going on for a long, long time.
Right. I completely agree with you. And 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗱, he said some amazing things. In fact, I'll try to find one of his quotes here in just a minute. But going back to Dane Wigington, I obviously see that there is climate change occurring, but I'm convinced that the chemtrail geoengineering project and what we see going on in our skies today is the cause of that climate change. It isn't the fact that fossil fuel burning. It isn't the fact that there's too many people on the planet. In fact, this just burns me up, Richie, when I keep hearing people say that, carbon dioxide is a dangerous chemical. They must have flunked high school chemistry.
It's plant food, nothing more. The entire earth was designed so that people could exhale, make this stuff, and it feeds the plants. But they're cutting down all the forests. They're cutting down everything. So there's no way to regenerate it. It is warming up. And that's why I want to get Dane on to ask him point blank. It is warming up, but it's because of their efforts. That's why we had that, I think it was 5-6 years where we were having tornadoes everywhere. We were having them in Boston. You don't get tornadoes in Boston because it's not a conducive area. There's no wide open spaces. They had it so that it was so totally erratic. They seem to have got it dialed in so that nobody gets any rain unless they want them to. We're under drought conditions here in Boston, which makes no sense. I'm looking at the Atlantic Ocean right now. We have our own little ecosystem, and they've managed to shut it down. So it looks like we're next on the list of places where there's not going to be any drinking water. That's what it appears like.
Yeah, we've been on a drought here on the West Coast for quite some time. In fact, where we live, it's been about 10 years, and it was getting, all of our reservoirs were empty. But this year has been very, very wet. It hasn't been all that cold, though. We've had 3 flood events in the lower valleys based on the fact that we had huge snowfall, over 900 inches of snow up in the Sierra Mountains. But we had, on 3 different occasions, we had the snow level rise to near 8,000 and 9,000 feet, which caused huge runoff and caused all kinds of flooding in the lower valleys.
Well, it looks like it's our turn for the drought because we don't have normal precipitation here at all anymore. In Boston, in New England, you get weather. Every year since I was a kid, almost 50 years, the last 2 years, they've managed to shut it off like it's a huge on-off switch. It's unbelievable. I just went from Boston to Alabama and back, and the skies everywhere are the same. You can't look at the stars at night, even in the most remote places, because the sky's clouded. The only thing you can see at night is they're spraying at night heavily now. It's I don't know what their plan is, but the thing that should scare everyone, I don't mean scare, you know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
The fact that these guys are coming out and saying, we weren't spraying, but now we're going to. So they just went from covert to overt. I can't imagine what it's going to look like. I can't imagine. Now they're saying we're doing it, and people will go right along with it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it amazes me too, because again, I think people have been, this has been a big setup, Richie. I mean, they obviously, people are out here screaming about what's going on in the sky. And you even mentioned earlier that you have found back in Soprano episodes that they had chemtrails put into and you believe it was artificially input into the skies in the background of the Sopranos. That's crazy, man. I mean, they have been pushing this and getting people ready to accept it.
You watch movies made by unbelievable filmmakers. You watch shows like Breaking Bad. I mean, there's a good budget there. You've got cinematographers. You've got film guys. Why is it that they always seem to zero in on an enormous plane spraying or a giant X in the sky? It's to normalize it, and it's worked. Along with fluoride, medications, vaccines, genetically modified food, and the television media blitz, it's worked. People are accepting this. They don't even look up. The skies are glowing at night. The skies are literally reflecting the city lights back down, and nobody finds that normal. Nobody finds it unusual. It's just unbelievable to me. Unbelievable. The predictive programming in television has worked like a charm. We were talking offline that these people are being victimized by a government, and even worse, the people in the background, and they're defending them. It's amazing. This has worked flawlessly. Flawlessly. There's only a tiny minority of people like yourself and myself that are trying to wake people up, and it's amazing. They're online too. They've got a troll army. It's just amazing to me. So.
And they have admitted that. I mean, obviously, we know that the Israelis, they have online trolls. We know that the NSA, the DHS, they're trolling us on YouTube. I mean, you have a hugely popular YouTube channel. I'm being censored on YouTube. I can obviously tell you that, although I've been fairly lucky. But there are other people who they're just getting taken down because we're actually out there speaking the truth. And this is the whole cognitive dissonance. Wouldn't you say this is kind of a boiling frog syndrome?
Oh, I can't imagine that the frogs there's anything even left, because they've been doing it for so long. They've done things in the last year just to test, to see what people would do. And I believe they're at the point where they're like, we can do this. There's only a small minority, that would be you and I, and the people listening right now, that are even going to do anything, and they figured out how to just censor us, just shut us right down. I had a video get taken down on my backup channel by the one and only 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗱, and I didn't even mention his name, and YouTube has no problem. Just copyright strike, videos taken down, and that's that. So he's still out there lurking in the background too, which is just an odd thing for a parent of a gunshot. It makes no sense, but that's what he does.
I have a quote here I'm going to read by Edward Bernays. Now, Edward Bernays is the pioneer of corporate PR and propaganda. I mean, he helped the Nazis do everything that they did. And again, we have another culture, another nation that was actually doing exactly what you're talking about, supporting this psychopath, this odious sycophant who is in power. But Edward Bernays, those who manipulate the unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed, our minds molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men we've never heard of. In almost every act of our lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business, in our social conduct or our ethical thinking, we are dominated by a relatively small number of persons who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is they who pull the wires that control the public mind, that control the public mind, that control the public mind. I got to keep reiterating that. That is what they are doing, folks.
And it's been going on a long time. I mean, his uncle was Sigmund Freud. You know, this is amazing. They learned how to I mean, I was born in the late 60s. I can remember when people went out and they bought the things that they needed, and that was it. You had your weekends to yourself. Everything was great. There was still families. Society wasn't perfect, but it was nothing like it is today. It's unbelievable. People are just in a competition to buy the next shiniest thing, the next scrying mirror to put in their house. It's unbelievable. And America is just walking along with her eyes closed completely. Other countries, subscribers from all over the world that are constantly like, this is going on. It's like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm walking around America and shaking my head. I can't believe how quickly and efficiently we've fallen. No matter what they say, people do it. We don't care how much taxes you hit us with. We don't care what license we have to have. It doesn't seem to end. It doesn't seem to end. And if you try to wake somebody up, they defend the machine that's oppressing them. It's brilliant.
Absolutely. It is. It is brilliant. And what you say has been going on for a long time. Some people will think that's 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Folks, this conspiracy is so monstrous. It goes all the way back to the garden. This has been an incremental process to take over humankind, to take over, everything, and put it in control of the Lord of this world, which is our adversary, Satan.
Yep. It's amazing because it said 70 generations. I believe we're seeing the fruits of it right now. In the mid-'80s, all of a sudden we went from horse and carriage for as long as recorded history can, as far as we know, but to all of a sudden learning how to make trains, planes, and automobiles. And as soon as we figure out how to get up in the sky, we learn how to drop the biggest bomb we can on other people. We're living it right now. I think that you and I in my honest opinion, I could be wrong. I could die tomorrow. In our opinion, I think we're going to see this opening in front of us. I think we're really, quite literally going to live through what the Bible told us to watch out for, because it's happening. Everything is lining up. Everything is, in the words of Anthony Patch, everything is coalescing right now.
Absolutely. And Anthony was on the show. We did a show about CERN and the Beast Within. And, if you haven't read Revising Reality, people, I highly recommend you go get it. You read this book from a Christian perspective. It really looks at what's going on when it comes to D-Wave computers, CERN, the fact that that organization actually sits on Apollyon. It's sitting on the ancient mythological site of the pit, of the abyss. And,
exactly.
That stuns me. It just blows me away, Richie.
That's what I was referring to at the very beginning. I said they're trying to open the pit. It's located in Geneva. CERN sits directly on top of the opening of the old temple of Abaddon or Apollyon. I had a chance to spend a few days with Anthony down in Tennessee, several months ago, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Anthony told me on my show that we were gonna see it happen this year, and now I'm watching the Smithsonian come out a few months ago, completely debunking chemtrails again, and I said right there and then that this means if they're debunking it again, it means they're going to kick it up. And now we have Harvard coming out saying we weren't chemtrailing, but if we were, this is what it would look like. And actually, we're going to, because it's cheap and easy. And of course, they have to put in the caveat, it won't quite stop global warming because we can't do that in time, but it'll help. So people, it's perfect. Their presentation is perfect. They're hypnotizing people, and it's worked so effectively. You have to marvel at the genius of it all. But when you look, if you've been doing this long enough, if you keep honestly and earnestly looking for the truth, you have to come down to the point where there's good and there's evil, and then even more so, there's a Lucifer and there's a God. And they're not looking to just steal all our money, imprison us, make us think this or make us think that. In my honest opinion, I believe it's a battle for our souls. It's a cosmic battle, and we're in the middle of it right now.
I completely agree with you. I'm utterly convinced, unequivocally convinced, that we are in a supernatural battle between, obviously, Lucifer and his minions, our adversary, and obviously we're talking about the fallen angels and God, and obviously the saints, those of us who are believers, those of us who are trying to stay with God through all of this temptation. And I found it interesting what you were just talking about, and a scripture came to mind because you had said you have to, as you look at the genius of this incremental program that they have done to deceive mankind, it does. It makes you marvel at it. But Revelation chapter 17, verse 6 says, "And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration." Obviously, you got to look at how these people have incrementally put us in this position. It is marveling. These people are certainly geniuses, obviously, because they're being controlled by the Lord of this world.
It's funny that you mentioned CERN also, because between CERN, D-Wave, the robotics that they've come up with, and the artificial intelligence that's springing up everywhere, they're coming out with it. They're coming out with their entire system. I have to guess that between CERN's Awake project, and all the AI that's rising up right now, because if they're showing it to us, it's already done. They're not going to show it to us while they're doing it. They wait till it's completed. It's done. The Antichrist is going to be, now I got this from some really much smarter than myself. The Antichrist is going to be AI because it makes perfect sense. Everyone will marvel, everybody will follow, and everybody will want it. And I think that they're spraying the atmosphere. It all ties together. I think they're spraying it because once they open this, once they loose these things on us, our atmosphere is to support life. And they're the exact opposite. If they spray the atmosphere enough, it'll allow them to live here. Because the CERN's going to try to bring them, they're tearing the veil. They're going to tear the veil between spirituality and humanity. And I don't think they can live in our realm. And that's what all the spraying's about. It's the only thing that makes any sense to me. Because the people that are behind spraying this, they have to breathe this in too. So they're under some false delusion that everything will be fine. They can upload their consciousness into a computer or a machine afterwards. So get rid of that pesky human body that God created. You don't need that. We've got much better. No more cancer, no more tears. Everything will work perfectly. It's really all happening. Every single headline supports this right now, in my opinion.
And the whole transhumanism, scientism agenda. I mean, having the Antichrist be AI, I think is actually kind of an interesting idea because, I mean, there are people that believe that the beast is going to be a political and economic system that will be led by the Antichrist. And when you say a political and economic system, if it is AI, obviously people are going to buy into that because they're going to think, oh, that's going to be far better than any of man, obviously. And when you get it, go ahead.
It makes sense because every single politician, it's like they're in a contest to see who can break more laws more openly. So that's the other thing. Get rid of those pesky politicians, let the AI run everything, and there you go. It's brilliant. They're doing it on all fronts. Everything's coming together at once.
Yeah.
It appears.
And my good friend, Pastor Dean Odell, he writes in his book, The Polluted Church, he makes some very, very convincing arguments that the Great Whore of Babylon is actually going to be a religious entity that will work with the beast system, the political and economic system, whether it be AI or whether it actually be a person. But he talks that the whole religious system will be surrounding Rome. I mean, all roads just seem to lead to Rome. All the roads.
Well, Rome's in charge. I mean, more specifically, the Jesuits. They're all in charge of everything right now. Jesuits run CERN. Jesuits run the Lucifer telescope. And the Jesuits now run the Vatican. And it appears the Jesuits run the White House and probably everything else. But from what we can figure out, that's what's going on. So
what research have you done into the Lucifer telescope? I mean, what is the Roman Catholic Church doing building a telescope that's called Lucifer?
The best part about that, the best part about everything to do with the Vatican is they had to stretch it so very far to even name it Lucifer. They really went out of their way because it's the longest, wackiest acronym. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I'm trying. They kicked a bunch of Native Americans off of a sacred site, obviously, because that's what they love to do, that the Native Americans claimed was a portal. Our ancient ancestors come through right here, and they're like, great, what we're going to do is we're going to build a telescope that can see things that nobody else can see, because it's like the Santilli scope. It's just a larger version. They're claiming that they can look into the same air that we're looking at. We're looking at stars, maybe a planet cruising by, whatever. These guys are seeing entities, just like Santilli came up with his telescope, and it is black and white. We can see energy. We can see entities of darkness. We can see entities of light. Now, to us, that's an easy one. You're seeing angels and demons. You know what I mean? But the large binocular telescope, near infrared utility, this won't open up. Pulling Lucifer out of this was a really tough one, and the Vatican still managed to do it. But they're allegedly, some people think that they're looking for Nibiru. Some people think they're looking for Christ to come back. I don't know what they're looking for. I can't tell because there's so much disinformation. Our entire community is riddled with agents that are suddenly popping up right now. It's hard to tell what's real. Our history, everything. So
Yes,
I kind of got lost on that one. Sorry
That's all right. Fake news, real news. And I love what Anthony Patch talks about with CERN is, in fact, that this the whole new setup that they're going to be using there, he believes is a weapon that will be used against Jesus Christ when he returns, be used against God, be used against the angels who are still in league with the one and only Creator, the Lord Most High, and that they're going to use this as a weapon to try to defeat the salvation that is afforded to us in Jesus Christ when he returns.
And that ties in hand with the Lucifer telescope, because that gives them a good heads up when it's coming back. So they'll know before anyone, because it doesn't make any sense. Why would if this was truly a religious organization and the Pope was truly somebody that was in his heart believed he was a representative of God on earth, which is ridiculous. But, let's just say that if that's really what it is, why would men of faith be spending so much time with CERN, trying to tear the veil, Lucifer, looking at things, it's just amazing to me. And I do think that CERN may indeed be a weapon. I mean, a massive weapon. It's a Tower of Babel recreated with bolts and screws this time. It's amazing.
Yeah. I completely agree with you there, too. And before we go into the break here, I just also want to clue you guys in, and I'll preface this comment with the fact that I don't have any problem with my Catholic brothers and sisters, okay? There's a lot of great, wonderful, loving, compassionate, understanding people, but they are being deceived. Revelations chapter 17, verse 9, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. The Catholic Church claims to be the woman, the mother of all Christian churches. So that is the woman. And Rome is the only place, you can go and Google this, it is the only city that sits upon 7 hills. And Revelations, again, chapter 17, verse 9, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And that's the city of Rome. I want to welcome everybody who is in the chat room. We've got Irish Pete, Chris, Lucky, Beth, Beverly. We got Charles Calvo, Deacon Snyder, Drone Free Zone, James Millward, Lewis Taw, Melissa Taylor, Molly Gordon. And that looks new look. I can't read the whole name. It's too long. I think that's actually Richie. Redempti, Star the Oracle, Thomas Silk, Zella Zabitsky. Thank you all for joining us on this Sunday afternoon. We've had an interesting start to the program, but we are rocking and rolling right now. Also, I want to welcome everybody at WLIR Australia, Pyramid One Channel 2 Network, IPMNation.com, iHeartRadio, and the K-Star Talk Radio Network. It's always a pleasure and an honor to have you guys join us today. We're going to be talking about some D-Wave computers, and obviously we've been exploring some very interesting concepts here with Richie from Boston. His YouTube channel is hugely popular, and he's a real activist talking about geoengineering, D-Wave computers, CERN, all of this stuff. He's also a Christian, also somebody who is well aware of end-time prophecy. I want to digress just a little bit before we get into D-Wave computers, Richie. I want to go back to this whole Harvard scientist thing real quick, because I need to read something out of this. I was in I was in Guitar Center the other day, and I made a comment about taxes, and this goes along with what you were saying about how people are defending these odious sycophants in power, these evil elitists. I made a comment about taxes. He says, oh, yeah, we shouldn't pay taxes. I wouldn't want to have police and firemen and local services and roads. And I said, dude, that is not what's happening. The money that is being taken from us is a Ponzi scheme. It's going into the Federal Reserve's pocket. The money is not being spent properly. You want real change? And I want to get your opinion on this. You want real change? Don't send your money to Washington. If you send $100 to Washington, what comes back to you in what we would consider services is about $2. If you want real change, if you want to help the mother down the street who's got cancer and 2 kids with autism, inform them, educate them, and give them $100.
I totally agree. I mean, if you watch my few weeks, we pretty much covered everything we're talking about right now, but that's one of my pet peeves. People seem to think that we need to give this astronomical amount of money to the government and that they do the right thing with it. When's the last time you drove from the East Coast to the West Coast? They don't take care of the roads. They don't do anything anymore. It's absolutely unbelievable. We're simply paying back a debt that's attached to every dollar as soon as they print it, that's backed up by nothing. And people don't seem to get that. The only crime, the major crime every city, every state, every country faces is perpetrated by their own government. And they basically don't even try to hide it anymore. They don't care. They don't have to. They've medicated, vaccinated, and fluoridated people down to the point where no one cares anymore. Everybody just wants to pay their bills, be left alone, go home and watch television, and repeat. No one knows how to fish anymore. No one knows how to catch an animal. And even if you try to do any of those things, you have to make sure you pay first. You can't fish without a permit. You can't be homeless in this country anymore without a permit. It's just absolutely amazing. They've got the entire octopus stretched out in every direction, and everyone's ensnared. It amazes me. The victims are defending the perpetrators. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's all related. You make a good point about what I call consumerism, Richie. There is a con with all of this stuff. Everybody's going out there and buying the newest, best, smartest phone. They're putting insurance on that smartphone, but they're not taking care of their health. They're not taking care of what they really need to be taken care of, which is number one, coming to the truth. Number two, coming to the truth of Jesus Christ, and the fact that we are in these last days, and the fact that the people have this warped ideology, this warped way of thinking that says the governments wouldn't do that to us.
It's amazing because we live in, just like we were told we would, where all things are coming to the forefront. We have so much information that you can look for on the internet and really look up the numbers. Every single solitary country that tried to disarm their citizens, every time that happened, it followed by mass genocide. It's not a rumor. It's not a theory. It's just a fact. They don't teach it. They don't talk about it on the news. They don't talk about it in the media because they bought it all. When I was 20 years old, 29 years ago, 80 plus industries owned everything that we read, watched, heard on the radio, so forth, so on, and blah, blah, blah. Now it's down to 6, and that's probably secretly really just 3 corporations own everything, and one of them's General Electric, whose main export is war. They've got us. They've infiltrated everything. They've snuck in every single solitary way there is. But I tell my subscribers all the time, we've got them beat. There's nothing to fear. Christ already came here and paid for our sins in blood. There's no more sacrificing that has to be done. All you have to do is understand it and believe it. And people still argue with that. And lately, as of late, the last year or so, Christ has really been in the crosshairs, and Satanism is popping up in schools, around children, on billboards, everywhere. The IRS just fast-tracked them as a 401, I don't even know what it's called. It's the thing that they give the churches.
501(c). Yeah, they're certainly hiring behind it.
Yep. Oh, they are. They got it in 10 days flat. Most companies have to wait 2 years to hear back. The IRS fast-tracked it. Bam, done. Good to go. If there's no such thing as God, why is everything popping up around us right now completely and utterly satanic? It's amazing to me. It's totally unfathomable how bad this has gotten.
Yeah, and it again, is they've been completely brainwashed and they've been indoctrinated into things like scientism, and I'm going to wait until next segment to actually talk a little bit about flat Earth. But you mentioned something that's very important. I've been covering this on my show for almost a month. Are the emerging churches. Even within the Christian religions and the Christian churches, false doctrine is being taught. They're being deceived right within the churches. They're New Age, scientism related. They're really teaching people things that are not biblical. It's almost heresy. It is heresy. I'm not going to say almost. It is.
Yep. It's amazing. I went and I did a video at the church, the new headquarters of the Temple of Satan, which is right down the road in Salem, Massachusetts. I went in there at the very end. I brought my camera in, and it was a museum. That's what they call it. It's a museum, except it's the most disgusting, X-rated stuff you've ever seen. But the coup de grace was the giant shed out back with the guard out there, and there's a 9-foot-tall Baphomet, the one that you've seen all over the place. It's now residing in Salem.
Wow.
I'm looking at it, and I'm videotaping it, and I asked the very helpful woman that worked there, I said, I noticed that this, the statue you guys had made doesn't have any breasts like the actual Baphomet. She said, well, there's a reason for that. Any town, any city, any place in the United States that dares have the 10 Commandments up or anything to do with Christ, we throw this thing in a trailer, we get it right out there, and we use free speech against them. And she said if we put the breasts on the Baphomet, we thought it would be too offensive. So, being the father of lies, being the followers of the father of lies, they lie even when they represent Lucifer in his best form, his best known form, the Baphomet. It's not even accurate because they didn't want to do that because they didn't want to give people a reason. Like, it's too X-rated. It has boobs. We don't want to do that. So they did that, and that's exactly how they moved 10 commandments out of every town using lies once again. It's phenomenal to me. It's amazing, and it's really happening. The last year, ever since the Gothard Tunnel ritual occurred, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but they finished their 18-mile-long tunnel.
That was the most bizarre thing I ever saw, Richie.
I'll tell you, when asked about it, I sat here and watched it. I believe it came out on a Sunday morning. I'm sitting here looking at it, and my heart dropped because all I saw was them celebrating in grand style how they are getting ready to open the pit right in front of everybody. We had a big dig here in Boston. They built a great big bridge and a tunnel and all that stuff, and nobody cared. But over there, they spent £8 million. They flew in Angela Merkel. They flew in all the top elitists to sit there and watch this epic saga that commenced with harmonics, a giant video of CERN, everything. It was a, I can't think of the word. It was like an opus, an ode to Lucifer. We're coming soon. We're getting ready to do it. And ever since that ritual occurred, we've seen nothing but Satan shows up on the billboards. Satan's now in school. Children are all celebrating. It's just amazing. I ask my subscribers, if you're parents, stand up. These are your kids. They're taking the children. This is an old method that's gone all the way back to Hitler. Teach the children. You'll have them when they get older. Well, they've done it. They've done it in spades. It's unbelievable to me.
Well, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this again. It comes up on my show every time I do a show when we start talking about the indoctrination of children. But Richie, it doesn't even seem to me that they're going to need to indoctrinate them anymore because they're not going to be capable of critical thinking because they are pushing vaccine mandates everywhere. These vaccines are causing autism. Yes, folks, they don't cause autism. They cause encephalopathy, which is brain damage, which leads to a myriad of autoimmune disorders, including autism. These kids, right. 1 in 39 right now is the autism rate. They're projecting by 2032 autism rates of 1 in 2 and 80% of boys. They're not going to be able to critically think, to understand, to grasp or accept or even just entertain what Richie and I are talking about.
It's amazing to me that people aren't alarmed by this. I mean, whatsoever. The numbers are through the roof. In the ancient tradition of elders passing down wisdom, the oral tradition is completely gone because, for the most part, everyone, when they hit their 70s or so, Alzheimer's kicks in and they can't remember anything. This is brilliant. If they don't get you with the water, if they don't get you with the vaccines, if they don't get you hooked on the myriad of medications they push on the American people, I mean, it's staggering.
Started on pharmacological drugs and psychiatric drugs. I mean, these people are just, it's destroying people's lives.
Right. If they don't get you with all of those, you're breathing it in because they're spraying it. And apparently now Harvard has come out, and you can't argue with Harvard. Those guys are scientists. They know all the answers. They're coming out, and they're going to start spraying now. So we've been watching them spray for over 20 years. And they just deny it. You can time it. You can set your watch to it. You can set up a video camera on a blue sky and say by 4 o'clock they'll be out here spraying and obliterating the sunset, and they do. So before they weren't. I can't imagine what it's going to be like now when it's all out in the open. I just cannot imagine. The skies look like plasma. They're teaching school children. NASA has put out a chart called School, SCOOL.
I saw that,
and it's showing them the 11 different clouds. Different clouds. I mean, they're really, really on this, and people are just going for it. It amazes me. But I can't say nobody, but most people, no one wakes up anymore and says, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? They've been tricked into thinking that this life right here is absolutely everything, and I try to stress to people that we are eternal. This is just a stop. We had to come in a human form to get something, and then go right back to the light that we were. They're trying to steal that. They're trying to shut down our connection. And they don't even have to try very hard anymore because no one's connected at all unless it's on Wi-Fi. And that's it. And that Wi-Fi is a whole nother thing.
Oh, I know. Gosh, I mean, that Wi-Fi is hurting people as well. You know, I live in a neighborhood here, Richie, with 420 homes in it. We are the only home without a smart meter.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I found out by staying at my uncle's house where he did have a smart meter. That's not just hype. Apparently, I'm very susceptible to electrical impulses. And I slept next to this smart meter, and it woke me up in the middle of the night like somebody hit me with paddles to resuscitate me. It's no joke. And I could actually go outside and look at the red light as it was transmitting information via Wi-Fi. It was in sync. So,
Yeah.
you know, people tried to stand up for that, but they just crush you. And then people forget. And people forget. We did the same thing with raw milk. They were hitting farms with SWAT teams. You know what I'm saying? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, we pay $8 extra a month not to have a smart meter on our home. And like I said, we're the only one. In fact, the NV Energy, our company here, actually, the guy came out to read the meter the other day, and he verified that we were the only house here without a smart meter. And he actually thanked me. He said, I still have a job.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Everything's going over to automation, and everything has. You guys, everything's a conspiracy. It's like, well, not everything, but for the most part, yeah, we're living in an enormous conspiracy. And the worst part is it's already happened. They're just about done. We're actually going to see the quote unquote great work in our lifetimes. And I mean, within the next 20 years, 20 years is being really generous because that's not actually what I think, but they are literally, honestly, they tried to use CERN to tear the veil. CERN couldn't maintain it, so they had to come up with the D-Wave computer and then the Awake project, and they are literally, honestly, going to try to tear the veil, and every horrible thing, men's hearts will fail from fear, will come into our reality, and they think that's a good idea.
Yeah, they do. And going back, I just posted it again. I posted this article about the Harvard scientists and their announcement for this geoengineering project. In fact, I guess this is I haven't vetted this yet, but apparently Bill Gates is funding this chemtrail plan this spring. And I just wanted to read this here. Two Harvard scientists have revealed plans to move forward with the launching of a high-altitude balloon equipped with propellers and sensors. It will be called the Stratocruiser. And the Stratocruiser, according to David Keith and Frank Couch, will spray a fine mist of sulfur dioxide, alumina, or calcium carbonate into the stratosphere. And the whole idea is to reflect solar radiation. Folks, us chemtrail activists like Richie from Boston, myself, Ilana Freeland, Suzanne Marr, Dane Wigington, we've been screaming that they are spraying this stuff for a long, long time. We have soil samples. We have, we got vegetation is dying. The water is being poisoned over and over and over again. And here it is, right here. You can go to multiple websites and read what these people are doing. They're scientists from Harvard, and they're telling you right now that they are going to do exactly what we've been warning they've been doing for a long time.
I think I made a video earlier today, and I think, a lot of people are stuck on Pizzagate. A lot of people are stuck on CERN. I try to cover the whole gamut, but I think the most important thing right now for everyone to focus on is this announcement. Because, again, for 20 years they said we could do exactly what you're seeing, but we're not. Well, now they're saying, now we're going to. And I don't hear any uproar. People don't, we all have to breathe. This is going to affect us exponentially. They're going to turn everybody into a walking antenna. We already swim in a Wi-Fi soup right now. Humans shouldn't be subjected to electricity going through the air in every single megahertz range there is possible. It's just absolutely staggering to me. Nobody seems to care. It's unreal.
Yeah, it is crazy. And it's all being done under the guise of thwarting global warming, which they are causing. This is well-funded. It's well-branded. The intellectual community is teaching our kids. I saw something on Netflix the other day. Actually, it was on YouTube. There was an ad that came up that has young children, little girls, one of them saying, I am really passionate about climate change. The other one is talking about cancer. We know cancer can be cured. We know they're not curing it because it's a big moneymaker. But these kids are being indoctrinated in such a manner that they believe this is all real. Richie, it's just amazing to me.
Right. And I mean, the passion that goes into defending something that's, if you simply look it up. Well, all the scientists agree. Well, that's not accurate. Obama's old science czar, who has a PhD in physics, These guys all signed a petition that just went to the wayside. It went the way of internet lore. It's a real thing. 31,000 scientists. That's a lot of people. Think about it, 50 states. How many scientists? You know what I mean? 600 scientists per state know that this isn't real. And yet it continues to push forward. It's turn Mother Earth. You know, we're going to have to get rid of all these people so we can save the planet. It's not what God gave us the planet for. Not at all. They're switching it all around, and they're still moving forward. It doesn't matter. Nothing seems to stop it. It gets to be a bit much after a while. You know what I mean? Like, where is the outrage? It's amazing what pisses people off. They'll trash a town because their sporting team won something. You know what I mean? But the air you breathe, someone else will fix it. Someone else will take care of it. We've never seen times like this, not that I can remember.
Yeah. It's a lot of times I see stuff that's happening in the world and my jaw just drops. And it's absolutely amazing to me. I mean, here they are saying this out loud. I feel pretty vindicated after this announcement came out, because the conspiracy theory that they are going to try to engineer the weather to, basically block solar radiation. This is a big announcement, people, and people need to pay attention. Absolutely. I mean, and quite frankly, I don't know. I refer a lot of people when I talk to them. They don't understand what I actually say. I refer them to the Abdominal Plexiglass Implant Research Institute, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Well, you have your head so far up your backside, you're going to need a windshield to see where you're going."
I caught that for the most part. That's a good one. That is a very good one. You should patent that.
Yeah,
it's amazing if you look around the country. If you really want to bum yourself out, start researching how many waterways have a nuclear plant on them, and how many out of all the plants that are there are now currently and actively leaking tritium into all the fresh water. And you'll be shocked to find out it's basically almost 100%. It's like a coordinated dance. They're polluting the atmosphere. Well, they're terraforming the atmosphere with metal. We don't breathe metal. So what does? They're making the drinking water radioactive. We don't drink you know what I mean? Like, what are they readying the earth for? All the while, they have a secret seed vault hidden away with all the, so they can restart again. These guys are really doing this. This is really occurring. This is way past theory. This is happening. And when it does come out in the news, when you are vindicated, people look at it, don't think anything of it. Everyone's so passive. It's just phenomenal to me. Screaming from the top of a mountain and no one's home.
Yeah. And then we got these dumb bases, the deep underground military bases. I mean, all the global elites are set up to go underground. And again, I think you made a great point earlier that they really believe that exactly what Satan said in the garden was that you will become gods, and that they're going to be able to transfer their consciousness into some sort of computer, which leads me to the D-Wave computers. This is scary technology, man.
It's scary technology, and it's old. It's been around a lot longer than people think it has been. When they first came out with this, Geordie Rose had all the money for it. He assembled the best computer design people there were, because obviously, you're going to build a computer, get the best guys. They ended up letting go of all of them because D-Wave isn't exactly what people think it is. It's not a traditional transistor computer like you and I are on right now, or that everyone's accustomed to, and it's not even a supercomputer like people are accustomed to. This thing is electromagnetically shielded. It's kept below the alleged temperature of outer space. It looks like a giant spine hanging in there, and it simply pulls information out of the ether, according to the people that built this, in their own quotes over and over and over again. They're reaching into other dimensions, and they're pulling back information in larger and larger, exponential, self-replicating methods. This thing is like a giant Ouija board to the other side. They're getting directions from the other side. They don't have to do a giant occult. They don't have to draw a circle. They don't have to sacrifice a goat. They just simply turn on the D-Wave, and this thing can communicate perfectly, and they're getting all the instructions for what they're doing now. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. They say it straight up. We are manipulating other dimensions, and we are getting information from other dimensions. They say it straight up, and people are alarmed, and they should be. I mean,
You know, and you just mentioned the fact, and I've seen this, that it looks like a spine. And I don't know, just something just popped into my head because I've studied a lot about chiropractic and the 33rd degrees of Freemasonry and the 33 vertebrae that's apparently, obviously, end with your pineal gland, which obviously they're all trying to say, you open your pineal gland. That's not what you want to do, folks. That's going to get you communicating with the dark side.
Right. That's exactly what this thing is. I've spoken to everybody that spends almost all their time. I mean, I did shows with Anthony Patch for 2 months straight, almost every day. That's what this thing is. They're simply, that's why they couldn't have the computer guys, because the computer guys at some point would have said, hey, this isn't exactly a computer. So they got rid of them. They do everything in-house. Everything's proprietary. Everything they do, they keep to themselves. And some of the arenas that Geordie Rose has gone into are crazy. Like literally having monkeys in exoskeleton suits training AI armies of robots using Wi-Fi. I mean, that sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. And yet he's doing. Go over to kindred.com, their website, and watch. It's absolutely phenomenal. These people are building the vessels for all the wealthy people, all the elitists, all the Satanists to upload their consciousness to simply and only get around God's judgment for all the evil they've done.
Richie, hold on. We're going into a break. So everybody stay tuned. Right. My guest, Richie from Boston, the Awakening Liberty Show. We're going to be right back. Stay tuned. And welcome back to the final segment of the Awakening Liberty Show right here on truthfrequencyradio.com, your protection from deception. It's been a great show. My guest today has been Richie from Boston. We've been talking about all kinds of stuff. I think we've been centering really on this Luciferian agenda and how these wacko psychopaths are geoengineering and terraforming and really trying to get people. I'm convinced they're trying to get people to the point where they can't think well enough to actually understand the Bible, to understand end-time prophecy, to understand that there is salvation afforded to us in the name of Jesus Christ. And I pray, that is what people keep calling this show a ministry, and I'm not sure if it's a ministry, but really that's my ultimate goal, is to share the good news, to share the gospel, to spread the idea and the truth about Jesus Christ. I saw a great meme the other day. It said, we need a lot more tackle boxes and a lot less Xboxes in the world.
Without a doubt. People, they don't seem to understand that at any time. They've done plenty of tests on this. Any time they could stop the food delivery, and they've set it up so that the violence just ensues. We are it breaks my heart, to tell you the truth. Because if you met me in real life, I'm not what people don't see this coming. They don't understand that I don't actually really even like people for the most part, but I don't want to see anyone lose their soul, and I can see the plan laying out. We're at the end game right here, in my honest opinion. And like I said earlier, the headlines are backing up everything. All the conspiracy theories are now ending up in the news, and no one even cares.
Yeah, and I keep seeing the name pop up in the chat room here. I think you even said something about it. David Rockefeller, I posted a dancing Snoopy the other day when David Rockefeller actually died. I said he's going to meet his master and not his maker. Yeah.
The thing is I'm pretty sure they didn't pull the plug on old Dave until they had it ready to upload. When we were talking about the Antichrist being an AI, I meant it'll be a electronic body, much like that show Westworld. Fourth Watch in Nicholson 1968 did a great show on the Westworld on HBO, which is all about artificial intelligence. It's all about cloning. It's all about digitally printing humanoids, and you can't tell them from the real thing. And all the big money on this planet right now is all on robotics. These people are going to build their own bodies, and they're going to upload their consciousness. And I got a funny feeling the old line from the Bible is going to come into play. People will search for death, and death will flee from them. I think that's what we were being warned of, and no one's paying attention.
Absolutely. And Richie, you and I seem to be on the same wavelength on a lot of different levels. In fact, you perfectly segued.
I knew what the dancing Snoopy was. I did, definitely.
I was going to segue, and you gave me the perfect segue, because I was going to mention cloning. And obviously, there are many people out there, Douglas Riggs, even S. Douglas Woodward talked about this on the show, that cloning technology has been around for a long time. They know how to do it. Donald Marshall claims that they're using cloning technology in deep underground bases where they have people fight like the gladiators of ancient Rome do. And, I wonder if, Rockefeller died, if they didn't just take his brain, because Donald Marshall actually claims that they can move the consciousness from clone to clone.
Yep.
Whether or not they took David Rockefeller and they've cloned him into a new actor, quote unquote, who will be on the scene, quote unquote, in the relatively near future.
Well, that's going to have to stay with theory because we could never prove that. But from what they've shown us, they've really gone out of their way in the last. I got rid of my television about 7 years ago. I've been awake about 10 years, and it came to me like a light switch. I went from collecting televisions, dating all sorts of women, just the usual. I had a very successful business till one day I woke up and couldn't shut my mouth and ruined my business, so forth and so on. But I wouldn't be surprised because they've been showing us exactly what they're doing in movies. Because you start watching certain shows, all of them have a particle collider in them. All of them have a CERN. All of them are talking about exactly what we're talking about, and they're showing the nuts and bolts of it. They have to show us what they're doing, and I believe they really are. When we were kids, we watched things like Star Wars and Terminator. Now those are realities. Those are tangible, real things that are occurring right now. Boston Dynamics, which was bought up by Google, everything's been gobbled up by Google, has robotics that are unbelievable. Japanese, Chinese makers are making clones of themselves with robots that are almost nearly indistinguishable. And that's working on a budget. Imagine having a black budget in a deep underground military base where there's probably armies of these things lined up waiting for CERN to crack the veil so these demonic entities can go right into these bodies and then carry on. It's just amazing. It's staggering to me. If people want to know the true history, look towards myths. The mythological things they're starting to dig them up right now. You know what I mean? Gilgamesh was a myth. Well, they found his tomb. So he was one hell of a myth, I guess. They even buried him. It's just crazy times. It's absolutely times.
And you mentioned the Smithsonian. They're involved in this conspiracy to the nth degree. And all of the, obviously L.A. Marzulli, Gary Wayne, who's been on my show, also, talking about the fact that there is evidence of giants. We're going all the way back to the garden here in Genesis 6.
It's really funny you say that because I was literally just at the Great Serpent Mountain, Ohio, the other day. I got some phenomenal 4K footage from above. Whomever built this, if you talk to real Native Americans, they simply say, they were here when we were here. These things were all over the United States and the world. Sir Petrie, the Petri dish guy, found an army of them, he called them, and they were all 16 feet tall and bigger. He said it was a new race of human species he found. Smithsonian swooped in, gone. Farmers were pulling up bones, real bones, femur bones, foot bones, all sorts of bones of giants. And I'm not saying 8-foot tall guys. These were huge all over America. The Smithsonian comes in, much like NASA, scoops up everything, nothing to see here, and it's gone.
Yeah.
And Gary Wayne's phenomenal. I've had him on a couple of times. The guy's so knowledgeable, it's ridiculous. But yeah, this stuff was real. This stuff was real, and we're going to see it again.
Yeah. The Genesis 6 Conspiracy sits right next to me. It is my go-to book for historical events, factual events, whether I'm exploring Freemasonry or whether I'm exploring Genesis 6. It's all tied in together. And that's what this show for me has been about, Richie, is trying to get, we've mentioned GMOs today, vaccines, pharmacological medication, fluoride in the water. It's trying to get the bigger picture to evolve so people can look at one of these links in the chain and actually look at this larger picture and understand this monstrous conspiracy. In fact, I posted this morning on Facebook, I said, once you understand the monstrous conspiracy, it's enough to burn you out. And in fact, I feel that way sometimes. And thank you to, I think it was James Millward in the chat room stated, he appreciates my work and keep doing what I'm doing. The adversary, Satan, keeps telling me, I keep hearing the words, just quit, just quit, just quit. That's what he wants me to do because I'm on the right path. You're on the right path. Christians are on the right path. And in fact, I wanted to mention this earlier. The fact that Christianity is the one religion in the world that is under continuous, constant, horrible attacks leads me to believe that that is the truth. That is the one that we should all be moving forward to.
I totally agree. And I don't understand how people say, you have no proof there's God, but they'll believe in aliens. They'll believe in whatever they're told. There's a reason. I mean, just like anybody else, I came to the point where it's like, what if I'm completely wrong? All you have to do is look around. What is the one thing? Muslims can do whatever they want. Buddhists can do whatever they want. Anyone can do whatever they want, but you better not pray in school. We'll have your children arrested. And that's what's happening. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable.
And I keep mentioning this on the show, too, recently, because I have real problems with the Constitution as it was written, in the fact that we, the people, allow organizations like the ACLU and the National Man-Boy Love Association in this country. And again, they're not attacked, but Christians are attacked because we believe in Christianity, we believe in the Bible, we believe in the laws of Yahweh, but they're not attacked and they're allowed to actually operate. I think their mantra is sex before 8 or it's too late. Right.
And it's funny that you bring that particular topic up because I'm always on that. When Bruce Jenner became Caitlyn, if that's even accurate, but that's what they're presenting. I told people back then, I said, this is simply and only the tip of the iceberg. Put on your thinking caps. Does the government really care if gay and lesbians have rights? It's an agenda. I said they're going to keep pushing this until they come out with their true goal, which is sex and sacrifice with children, because it's been going on since the temples of Baal, which have been re-erected again. This is exactly what they're doing. Lo and behold, Pizzagate pops up. And all that did was bring everything out into the public eye. No one's ever got charged. No one ever will get charged. It actually worked in the opposite fashion. People started losing their channels, losing their websites, and people are getting threatened to be sued. This is what these people do. They're putting it out there so people they're going to beat people over the head with it so people aren't outraged anymore. And it's already starting to happen.
Yeah,
this
and
is unbelievable.
It started happening 2 years ago when legislation was popping up in multiple states to change pedophilia to a sexual orientation instead of the abomination that it is. I was astounded.
I have no issues with anybody as long as you don't harm anybody else. The people that want to dress up and pretend, the people that are allowing their 6 and 9-year-olds to go on the cover of National Geographic because they're transgender, those people should be put in prison. When I was a little kid, I thought I was a dog sometimes or a fire truck. Thank God it's not now because I'd be painted red and have a siren on my head. People are forcing this on their kids because it's the new beauty contest. This is out of hand. It's totally out of hand, and everybody just puts up with it. They beat them down with the LBGTQ, AM, FM, bacon double cheeseburger till no one cared anymore, and now this is what we're seeing every time you turn around. A 6-year-old on television with a ball gag in his mouth, oh, that's okay because he's transgender. He doesn't know that. That's what his parents are supposed to do, but the government's taken over. Parents don't do their job anymore. They drop them off at school. They do what the school says now, and nobody stands up. And it's too late. To turn it around right now, we'd need a massive revolution, and we'd need a lot of people in, and it's just never going to happen. Not that I can see. And I don't mean to sound like a defeatist because I don't care. It doesn't matter. I already know what's going on, and it's above and beyond our pay grades. Simply believe in Jesus, and you're good to go.
Absolutely.
That's my motto, man.
Amen. And, we have legislation right now in Nevada that it used to be that you would have to opt in to have your child have sex education in schools. Now the legislation is being proposed that you have to opt out. So if you don't opt out, they're just going to teach your kids whatever they want to. And who knows what that's going to be. That's just horrible. But parents, pay attention. Please pay attention. Get informed, get educated, and watch what's going on. Put down your damn dumb phones and pay attention. Okay, let's get smart and put down those damn dumb phones. You did a video recently, Richie. Basically, I'm sure it was in response to many people bringing up the flat earth movement with you. And the title of the video is, Am I a Flat Earther? Tell us a little bit about what your stance is on flat Earth.
For 40 years, I've used every type of lens, every type of telescope they've come out with that was, within reason. Astronomical binoculars. The moment I walk out of the house, I'm already looking up. I have been since I was a kid, and I believed everything, because why wouldn't you? Everybody heard about the moon landing on the radio, so obviously it happened. But once you start looking into it, it all completely and totally falls apart. When you really start looking at it, NASA is an enormous agency, and it has incredibly dubious beginnings. That's just a fact. There's no two ways about that. What should have been prisoners of war and war criminals were actually given jobs to start NASA and start shooting rockets into space and then landing them in the ocean, claiming they landed on the moon. They've never been up there. And the more you look at the moon, even with like a Nikon P900, it's not something that can be landed on. Everything they tell us is completely and totally a lie. So I took it one step further. What's the highest mountain? I went out to Colorado a few weeks ago, about a month ago. And then I launched a drone 2 miles in the air off of the top of that mountain. And as far as you can see is as far as you can see. I can't prove the Earth is flat, but I sure can prove that everything NASA tells us about it being round is completely a lie. And if you go back in every old text, every one of them, they all know it. They all know that. I'm going to get in trouble here. They all know it's firmament. There's a reason the sky's blue. There's the same reason the water looks blue when you look at it from above. You know what I mean? But I just can't prove it yet, but I'm trying. And the good thing is I have the ocean at my disposal. So you can watch ships go over the horizon, and then you just get your binoculars out, and they come right back in, right where the water meets the hull. I'm not talking the top. And then you can let it go back out again, and then you're pulling it out with a telescope or a Nikon, and it's there again. So I'm trying to get the mileage charts from the shipping guys without getting labeled a terrorist and finding out exactly how far out to sea they are. So I have a real equation I can come up with. How big they are, multiplied by how far away they are, divided by my distance, all that crap. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I got to tell you, everything NASA puts out is a lie. They're not in the space station. There's guys up there in harnesses. Why would they have to fake everything? Why would everything be nonsense? If they really have a satellite a million miles away sitting at the Lagrange point looking at us at all times, why not shoot us a video? How come your cameras can't pick up stars when I can do it with my cell phone? My iPhone videotapes stars, but they can't get it with a telescope that can see a million miles. I'm just not buying any of it. It's all nonsensical.
Yeah, and I can't prove it either, but I can tell you what I do. My own senses tell me, and what I see is that this place is flat. And the Bible tells us that it's flat and stationary and everything moves around us. So as my faith has grown, I moved to the Bible and really look at that. The fact that the firmament is there, the fact that we have, you have Admiral Byrd going down to Antarctica, Operation High Jump followed by Operation Fishbowl, high altitude nuclear testing. Something was going on there. They found the firmament, they found the edge, so to speak, and then they tried to break through it. Obviously, they were not able to do so. But you know what? This comes to mind. All of a sudden, then they start talking about holes in the ozone layer. Maybe they did actually break through it.
Right. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I'm so up on all that. It's amazing. The only issue I have with Byrd is these guys don't play checkers. They play chess. They go long game. Byrd was a military guy. It's hard to discern what was real or what he was told to say, but if you listen to his story, when you watch him when he was talking live on that old show that was sponsored by the watch company, it sounds exactly like they definitely found the very, very edge. And there's no way in the world. Two things. They're out at Antarctica, but they're not mining it. They're not exploiting it. They're not drawing all the oil out of it. Same thing with the moon. There's no, if they could really get to the moon is a planet. According to what they tell us, it's a quarter size of the Earth. So it must have a quarter amount of the gold. It must have all sorts of elements that they need, but they just bypass it. Now we're going to Mars. That's ludicrous. Mm-hmm. You're not going to Mars. Nobody's going to populate Mars, and you're not putting Stephen Hawking on the top of a rocket and shooting him into space because he's a quadriplegic. But that's the story, and the people just eat it right up. It's just getting more and more and more nonsensical. So Everything about NASA is ridiculous, and I believe they know they're coming undone because they got their own army of trolls that attack anybody that says anything about NASA, which I do constantly.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. But again,
Well,
like we were saying earlier, I can't definitively prove either way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. And like I said, I just go back. But, I recently came out and I said, I am flat until I see some proof, until I see some non-CGI images, until I see something that is real, I'm going to stay flat. And I am not going to buy this ball earth. I used to say I'm a ball earth skeptic. I'm a NASA skeptic. I'm a ball earth skeptic. I'm a gravity skeptic. I'm a scientism skeptic. And I'm certainly a Bill deGrasse Tyson skeptic. This guy comes out and says, oh, it's pear-shaped, when all the pictures we have to the pixel are perfect spheres.
Right. See, that doesn't even make sense. That was like more mud in the water. Him and Bill Nye, I mean, Bill Nye is just a mechanical engineer. He's not a scientist at all, but he's more of an actor than anything else. But they trot him out for everything, especially global warming. But deGrasse Tyson, I can't. I mean, I listened to every word he's ever said until he said on Joe Rogan's show that there is no such thing as chemtrails. I was like, are you kidding me? It's just with everything at his disposal for him to say that. But then he wouldn't get his television shots. He wouldn't be on this show and that show. Gravity is nothing. No, people don't seem to get that. That's another one that's beaten into people's head. Gravity is a theory. It's never been definitively, like, this is what gravity is. It's a theory. It starts with an if and ends with an if. Electromagnetism is what people are looking for. It explains why the Earth can hold down a 200-pound man, but let a 3-ounce bird fly without crushing it. Yeah, gravity, if it was what they tell us it was, a bird would get killed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The amount of gravity to hold down a car would crush a bird. Electromagnetism holds it down according to its mass perfectly, and it makes the most sense. But that was Tesla, and that's not what they go with.
No, and I always bring in electromagnetism as well as buoyancy. It certainly explains why a balloon can lift off, why a butterfly can float. But if gravity was is strong enough to actually hold the oceans, the entire ocean, to this spherical ball that's apparently spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, that would crush everything else in the world.
Exactly, and that's all there is to it. If it can hold the ocean down, everything else would be dead, and that's all. That's the end of the sentence. So there wouldn't be anything, but they have their reasons, and the more time goes by, the entire reason comes down to there is no God. And if they're trying this hard to prove there is no God, they know they screwed up, and they want to take everybody else with them. They think they're going to get out in there by uploading their consciousness, and that's not going to work out well either.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, their goal, the ultimate goal, as I have come to understand this, is scientism, technocracy. All of everything that's going on in the world is designed to get us separated from God, from our Creator, from the ability to think, from the ability to accept Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, and to ultimately kill God. That's what they have been doing. That's what the space program is all about. That's what NASA is all about. It's to get everybody thinking that we are some cosmic coincidence in some cosmic soup in some huge universe in some galaxy that's going through the universe at some multi-million miles an hour. It's all BS. I'm convinced of it.
I agree totally. It's just so massive. People, I get it. It's such a massive, all-consuming, every direction conspiracy. It's overwhelming, but there's a reason for it. We weren't placed on this earth to wake up, go to school, go to work, pay taxes, go home and watch TV, and that's it. That's not what we're here to do whatsoever. People need to really start waking up and say, why was I put here? And there still is time to fix it, I think.
Yeah, and I would like to point out in Luke and in Corinthians, there is a reward, folks. There is a reason that we are here. What started in the garden was a supernatural battle between fallen angels, Satan, and God, our Creator, and the Elohim. There is a supernatural battle of good versus evil. What Jesus Christ did, why God reset everything, was because just as in Corinthians, it says, do you not know you will judge the angels one day. That is our reward. What happened in the garden was there was a rebellion because God had planned to elevate mankind above the status of the angels, and a group of them got really PO'd. They felt shunned, and they decided to rebel and caused everything that's going on in the world today.
They hate the fact that we can simply ask for forgiveness and be redeemed, and then some of them are simply doomed. They brought everything. They brought turning stones into weapons. They showed people how to dash an infant in the womb. They showed people how to use makeup. And when they were told that, when we were made and they were told they'd have to bow down to us, I guess it was more than they could bear.
Yeah, and they certainly rebelled. We're running out of time here, Richie. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. And you're welcome to come back anytime. Please give out any websites and your YouTube channel and that, so everybody can find you on YouTube.
Oh, it's easy. It's just Richie from Boston. It's pretty much one word on YouTube. Just start typing it and it'll show up. It'll say Richie from Boston found dead. That's a little joke CERN played on me for putting their ritual out there and making it go viral. They didn't like that.
Right.
And as long as the Honor Network isn't pulling it down, I have Richie from Boston on Facebook, but I don't go there very much. That's it.
Good deal. Everybody stop by and say hi to Richie. And again, thank you so much for joining me today and talking about all this stuff, because the fight that we are in, Richie, the fight that you and I are engaged in, and so many others. And gosh, I'm so thankful there are people out there a heck of a lot smarter than me. I'm just a voice in the forest. But the fight that we're all engaged in is very, very important. And we are facing a supernatural evil, and people need to wake up to all that. Your final thoughts?
That's pretty much it. Everything we've been talking about, there's literal proof on this earth that's been hidden away. It's all around, and that's what I've been looking for. So I've gotten close enough to understand that it's real. That's pretty much it, man.
It is real. And again, everybody, go and I posted this multiple times in the chat room. Go and read these articles. Look it up online about the Harvard scientists. I just posted the one article here that it's amazing. I mean, they're actually coming out and saying this. This isn't a conspiracy theory anymore. We got scientists saying it. MIT is reporting it. They are going to start spraying, although they have been spraying for a very, very long time. And again, this is all under the guise of global warming, which is an absolute scam, as Patrick Wood and I talked about on the show not too long ago. In fact, I'm going to have Patrick back on the show because we ran out of time that show as well. Everybody, I'm going to take April 1st off, but tune in on Sunday. Brother Gregory is going to be talking about contracts, covenants, and constitutions. So take care and God bless.